Hi, BC family. Welcome to our midweek devotion. This week, I want to talk to us about our love walk. We just got done with our forgiveness book study, a book by Lisa Turkis called Forgiving What You Can't Forget. Plus, we just came off of Easter Sunday where God gave his son because he loved us so much, and Jesus loved us so much, he gave up so much, so much in that. So we're going to start off our week talking about our love walk, and we're going to start in John 13:34 through 35. I give you a new commandment. That's important right there. That you should love one another just as I have loved you. So you too should love one another. By this shall all men know that you are my disciples if you love one another and if you keep on showing love among yourselves. I love that right there. It starts off with love them just the way I love you. That's unconditional love. Jesus died on that cross, not because we were so good and so awesome, but because he loved us that much. That's the same kind of love. He said, love them just the way I love you. Unconditional love. Not love based on what they do, right? It's not a love based on what they do or what they should do or what the stipulation. It's unconditional. And I love that because it kind of is one of those things where it says, this is the new commandment. So I want you to think there used to be old commandments, right? There was 10 commandments. Thou shalt not, do. Now he's saying, now this is the new commandment. Okay, if you do this one thing, kind of covers the other 10. I don't have to sit there and keep listing all the don'ts, because if you just love one another the way that I loved you, it's all encompassing. Does that make sense? I kind of think of it with my classroom expectations. You can sit there and list all the things you don't do. Don't run, don't yell, don't say mean things, don't throw things, don't this, don't that. But instead, I make one classroom expectation. No one has the right to interfere with the learning and well-being of yourself or others. That's it. Because it's all encompassing. You're talking too loud, you're interfering with the learning and well-being of others. You're saying words that are not nice, you're interfering with the well-being. You're tapping your pencil, you're getting out of your seat. It's all encompassing, right? It's kind of like how this new commandment is. Love one another just as I love you means you're not doing any of the things that you shouldn't be doing if you are doing this one thing. So I love that. So let's talk about love. Love is something people think you feel, but it is actually a choice. And you hear it all the time. You hear, oh, I fall in love with this person and I fall out of love with this person. And this person made me mad and now I don't love them anymore. We just grew apart and the love, is still there, but not in that way, right? People try and make it all about feelings, but it's really a choice. Love is a decision. It is a commitment, right? Let's take marriage. So many people say that marriage is 50-50. And yes, should you go into a marriage thinking, I want to compromise with this person, I want to do life with this person, and we're going to give and take? Absolutely. But the Bible does not say that marriage is 50-50. The Bible says marriage is 100% your part. And I'll get to that. So why do I say that? First of all, because what we have been focused on through this forgiveness Bible study and what Jesus, our example, showed us by his death is that we need to make sure we are walking in love with others no matter what they do, right? No matter if they keep their part or not. Ephesians 4 tells us how. It says, speak the truth in love. Now, with this, you get people that just turn it into, well, I'm someone who speaks the truth in condemnation, who speaks the truth and breeds anger, or people who speak the truth and invite offense. Kids are the best example of this, right? Kids are always saying, well, I was just speaking my truth. That's how they justify being mean to each other, right? Yeah, but how did you say it? My own children, my son will come into his sister's room and be like, Zoe, can I have this? And her response is, no, can't you say I'm using it? Get out. And now what's happened? Now my son's angry and he's going to fight back. And we have this discussion around how could we have said that better? In other words, how could we have said that, spoken the truth in love? Not just yet, but let me finish up using it and then I'll give it right over to you. See, when you are speaking truth, as Zoe was at the beginning of that, you can be right. She was right. She was using it. He shouldn't be in her room. But instead of inviting this acceptance and peace, you can drive people farther from you because of how you're speaking it. Is it lovely or not? If you, we were just talking about marriage, which we'll go back to in a minute, but think about how you speak to your spouse. How do you speak to your coworkers? How do you speak to your boss? Are you doing it? Is it lovely or not? So Ephesians 4 says, speak the truth in love, and goes on to say, put off your old man and put on the new man. So you see, it's not just a feeling, that's a decision, right? That's a decision. What you wear is always a choice. If I chose my clothes based on feelings, I would be in sweats every day. No, it said you take off and you put on. It's a choice, right? Nowhere does it say God takes off the old man and God puts on the new man. No, he said you do it. You have to do it. It goes into saying, put away lying. Don't go to bed fighting with each other. Make sure you don't give place to the devil. Be kind and tender-hearted. None of this is a feeling. It is an action. Take off, put away from, right? Don't go to bed angry. It's a choice. None of this has a stipulation of any kind. Don't go to bed angry only if your spouse apologized to you. No, it doesn't say that. Be kind only if they are giving 50-50. Doesn't say that, right? And it goes on, forgive one another just as Christ forgave you. We just got done with Easter and Good Friday, and Jesus died on that cross. And one of the last things he says is, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. They just beat him and tortured him and begged to have him killed. And he still said, I forgive you. I can guarantee he didn't feel all happy towards everybody, all fuzzy, warm feelings. I don't think he felt like he really wanted to forgive everyone. No, he made that choice because love is a choice, right? Ephesians 5 then starts off with, imitate God like a little boy imitates his father. And then verse 2 says, walk in love. And he just gave us the example of Jesus on the cross. So now here's where we get to the marriage part. Verse 21, submit to one another. That's both of you now. He's saying submit to one another, right? But then he goes into specific things. And here is where we get to address that 50-50 when it's really 100% you. It says, wives, submit to your husband. In marriage counseling, many times you get husbands who say, well, she doesn't submit to me. But wait a minute. That wasn't written to husbands. It's not your verse. Why are you reading her instructions? That's not written to husbands. And nowhere does it say, husbands, police your wives and ensure they do this. No, that was written to wives, right? And this goes both ways. It says, husbands, love your wives like Jesus loved the church and gave himself for it. And yet again, you get the ladies and the wives who, well, he doesn't do that. Well, again, it's not written to you. That has nothing to do with you. Where's your verse? Your verse is talking to you, right? You have to stay in your lane. Focus on what God is saying to you. I mean, this can go on and on. Verse 33, it says, wives, respect your husbands. And then you get the husbands, well, she doesn't respect me. And you just want to go, shh. That's not your part. Who cares if she doesn't respect you? That's between her and God. It has nothing to do with you. It's an interesting way to look at that, huh? That's her verse. See, our love walk in marriage goes south many times because we are so busy trying to read each other's verses and ensure the other person is doing what they need to do, right? Well, he has to hold up his end. Doesn't say that. No. Take his verse out of it. They aren't yours. Focus on yours. And notice these things have nothing to do with feelings. They're all a choice. It says, wives, submit to your husband, not only if he's loving you like Christ loved the church. It doesn't say that. You're supposed to focus on what God has called you to do and you to give 100% in your marriage. You have to take your verses and be obedient to them and not worry about the other person's verses or vice versa. See, when we just obey God and our part 100%, when we obey his word, he supernaturally begins to work in our marriage, in our hearts, in our relationship with others. This was very marriage dominant, but you can take that with relationships in general. Just read 1 Corinthians 13. Take no offense. Take no account of wrong suffered. Don't keep tally marks. None of 1 Corinthians 13 says only if they do A, B, C, and D. Only if they ask for forgiveness. Only if they comply. Only if they're kind to you. It doesn't say that. No, we put that in. Well, if they do that, then I'll do my part. That's not what God said. It has to be 100% you. So back to John 13:34-35. A new commandment I give to you, that you love one another as I have loved you, meaning unconditionally. That you also love one another. Give each other space. Stop being so hard on each other. Hard on everybody, right? Says that you may also love one another. God just wants us to be loving and lovely. By this shall all men know that you are my disciples, if you love one another, if you keep on showing love among yourselves. That's the Amplified Version. And I like that because that's key. You need to keep on showing love, which again is an action, not a feeling. In our forgiveness Bible study we just wrapped up, one of the key moments that stuck out to me is that forgiveness is all about me. Not about the other person caring or changing. It's about me making a choice. I'm either going to choose to walk in the freedom and comfort of peace or live in the constraints of unforgiveness. Lisa said in her book, not forgiving someone isn't teaching the other person a lesson, nor is it protecting yourself. You hear that all the time. Well, I'm just protecting my heart. It's not doing that. Nor is it protecting yourself in any way. It's making the choice to stay in pain. I loved that verse. It's a choice. She told a story where she was choosing forgiveness, choosing to let go, giving it to God and walk in peace. But she said, my emotions had not yet voted yes. I love that. She's like, my emotions were not in agreement with what she was choosing. But that was okay. She was choosing yes despite her emotions, because love is not a feeling. It's a choice. As we go about our week this week, having just come off of Easter and remembering and basking in the love that Jesus has for us and God for sending his son, we are reminded that Jesus is our example. He is who we are to follow. He is the example of an amazing love walk, and it is achievable, but it's not an easy road. No one's saying it's easy, right? Remember this week that having the feelings and the emotions, that's okay. Feelings are normal. But the choice is to not let your feelings rule your actions or your life. Feeling angry is different from living angry. Feeling offended is different from living offended. Feeling skeptical, feeling wronged is different from living skeptical and living wronged. Feeling resentment is different than living resentful. I love that little part in Lisa's book because it is a reminder that you will feel, and you should feel, but we choose to stay in that emotion. We choose to act on those emotions. And I don't know about you this week, but I choose to cast that on God. I'm going to cast my care on God. I'm going to walk in love with others, unconditional love. I'm going to stay in my lane, and I'm going to do what God is speaking for me to do. And I'm not going to worry about other people. And I'm going to watch God's supernatural favor and peace begin to reign in my life. Let's make that choice this week. Have a great week. Bye.